So yeah, The Wizard. I know that's kind of one thing you've been promoting. You're going to be talking about that, I guess. So I'm just want to get some clarification because it says like is it going to be the national release coming up? But it's like it's been out for a bit, right?
Well, it's an interesting story. That song was supposed to come out before the pandemic.
Okay.
And we'd lined up a tour, and we'd lined up the press, and here it comes. We're putting this song out. And then, as you recall, the pandemic was going to be over in 2 weeks. And clearly it was not 2 weeks. And so the song was sort of released, the tour was supposed to start, and then everything got shut down. So this is where we were supposed to be 3 years ago. So it is confusing for some people. Is this a new song? Is it not a new song? How come I've heard this song before if it's just being released now? But that's the story of why we're finally doing, talking to people like yourself and getting the word out about The Wizard.
First of all, again, that subject specifically, why, again, there's so many subjects, I guess, do you have a connection to it, or it's just that's an issue that why that subject?
Well, it's interesting in songwriting in that you don't really get to pick the subjects, they pick you. And like most people, I've lost people close to me from opiate poisoning. And when that happens, you go through a phase of trying to figure out how, why, what's going on here, and suddenly you become open to a community and realize the scope of this tragedy, that everybody knows somebody who is struggling now or who has just come back from a funeral. People of all ages, you've got children growing up without moms, you've got moms losing children. And when I found out that this tragedy was a profitable tragedy, and that the people who profited from it to the tune of many billions of dollars got to keep those billions of dollars. They got to keep their mansions. They paid fines here and there. They had to agree to certain charges. But at the end of the day, Richard Sackler lied and manipulated the regulators and said that these very addictive drugs were not addictive, knew that they were being overprescribed, pressured doctors to keep overprescribing them, and ran all the way to the bank. And to this day, he sits in his mansion, and to this day, he's not been criminally charged. And just as of last week, the court said, no, you can't come after this guy for his money. So the lesson being put out there is, if you're a pharmaceutical company, you can kill hundreds of thousands of people and make a pile of money on it. That's the lesson that they are putting out. So I think it's my job as a responsibility, my responsibility as an artist, to highlight those things and say, like, this guy is worse than Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar never said, cocaine is not addictive, it's fine, use as much as you want. But he is a notorious drug dealer. I think Richard Sackler is a notorious drug dealer who should suffer the same consequences as any other drug dealer.
Yeah, and I want to say, I'm guessing the name The Wizard, is that kind of a direct correlation with The Wizard of Oz, like the man behind the curtain? Is that what you're going for?
That's exactly what it is, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So at your show, it's on June 12th at the Drake Underground. I believe I read that you want to educate people on using naloxone. Is that what you want to do?
Yeah. So we have done some shows where we have a pharmacist. Actually, the opening act is a pharmacist, and the pharmacist comes out and says, "This is a naloxone kit," and he's got a rubber dummy there, and he says, "This is how you inject naloxone, and this is why you should know this skill," and it really should be the equivalent of a bandage in a first aid kit. These tragedies are happening everywhere. If we all just have a kit, and someone could say, look, my buddy's not waking up, or they fell asleep and I shake them and they're not responding. And the immediate response is, I know how to handle this. You got your naloxone kit. Basically, it's like an EpiPen. An EpiPen is something that we see everywhere. People carry an EpiPen. It would be great if an naloxone kit became as commonly used or as commonly available as an EpiPen. I think it would save a ton of lives. So yes, we at the show on the 12th, Catherine Harrison, who does a lot of work in this space, is going to do. She's a singer-songwriter as well. She's going to do an acoustic set, and she is going to provide a bunch of information that you need: where to get a kit, how to use it, what to do if someone's having a mental health crisis, or if you think that somebody is, in trouble.